Good afternoon, Memorial football fans. I'm Charles Strayer here with my co-host Logan Meyer, and we're going to provide a pregame analysis of the Eau Claire Memorial game at Crosse Logan this coming Friday. Now, how are we thinking about the game? What's the confidence level like for the Abes?
I mean, the confidence is off the charts. I mean, it is an away game, so that will halter some confidence.
Very true.
We're not going to be at Carson Park, which, I mean, if we were, it'd be a shutout, no doubt. But Eau Claire's away game is not as strong as their home game.
The past season we were 1-4 at on the road, but it should be a good point to turn around, and I think Coach Scott is really looking to reclaim a little bit of the clout that Eau Claire has had in the past.
You mentioned clout, but I mean, we have that clout. I mean, we are a very strong team. Our up-and-coming varsity members are some of the strongest we've ever seen.
That's true, both individually and as a team, I'd say.
Absolutely. I mean, look no further than Julius Clark.
You can't go on without talking about Julius Clark. I mean, absolutely essential to the offensive scheme. He is fast, he's got speed, agility, a great set of hands. I mean, he can turn on a dime, he can flummox any defender. He is going to be a force to be reckoned with this season here, I tell you, especially against the Logan secondary.
I mean, the other half of the dynamic duo that Logan definitely needs to be afraid of is Ferguson.
Yeah, Tay Ferguson is definitely a compliment to Julius Clark. He is probably the best set of hands I've seen out there. Even with a DB right in his face, he can catch the ball right out from under him. He's an absolute threat in the end zone, and he's got the speed to go along with it. I mean, the passing game is where it's at for Memorial, probably the best it's been in years.
I mean, the passing game is definitely fantastic, but the running game is even stronger.
Very true, and I mean, you can't mention the running game without mentioning Shimar Simmons. I mean, with these receivers, it's a matter of outrunning these opponents, and, you got to get past the defenders. But with Shimar, sometimes it's just about going through them. I mean, I've seen this guy break 2, 3, even up to half a dozen tackles. He is just an absolute force to be reckoned with out there, and I mean, he is definitely the kickstart this running game needs to, really get the scores going against Logan.
I mean, speaking of a force to be reckoned with, our defensive line is just as strong as our offense.
Very true, and I think it's going to really reflect in the score how we do, putting pressure on the quarterback. I think that's going to be essential, as it is to every game, but especially against Logan. These guys with our O-line, the quarterback, he can't get the routes to even guys as great as Clark or Ferguson without the time. Quarterbacks need time to throw, and if the defensive line is able to get that speed up and get to the, force a scramble, force a sack, Logan is going to be dead in the water.
I mean, I think the most important thing that Old Abes has that Logan doesn't is the spirit. I mean, if they're down a score in the fourth quarter, they're not coming back. Old Abes will, I guarantee.
Yeah, agreed, and that's been a vast improvement over last season. Last season we were 1-4 in one-score games as well, so it really, stamina is essential to this new scheme that Coach Scott and his coaching staff have set out, and that should be able to make us conference champions. I mean,
hopefully.
Yeah, contenders at the very least. I mean, that's always the goal. I mean, community outreach as well has become a staple. I mean, we've got some great events that have been going on, and, that's just as important to the Abes.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's student athletes, and student comes first. Yeah. And the coaches understand that. And their number one policy is LEO, love each other. And they push it like no other.
Yeah, the team camaraderie really brings these Abes together, and I think it's going to be the deciding factor not only against Logan, but in the future.
And I think this is one of the most important games of the season because not only is it the first game, but it's also not during the school year. It's before the school year starts in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a trend setter, and I think with confidence at an all-time high and the personnel to back it up, the Abes and the coaching staff should be able to get us a win at Lacrosse.
I mean, and if we get that win at Lacrosse, the ball starts rolling and it just keeps going and going and going. And that's what it's all about.
That's the idea, and I think, in terms of prospects, I think they're pretty good for Memorial.
And I think come Friday, it's going to be a monumental win for Memorial Old Abes.
Yep, that's the hope.
What do you think?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Obviously, there are things to be improved, but just from what we've seen in these past couple games, scrimmages, this is one good team. Got good personnel, it's got the skill, it's got the teamwork. I think all the pieces are there, and now everything's going to come to fruition.
If you want to keep up with the Old Abes football team, look no further than our other social media, Sports Highlights MHS on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. And I think that's all we have today. Anything else you want to add?
I just think it's going to be a great game. Go Abes!
Go Abes!